Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to the midweek edition of The Conversation here on Lagos Television. I am Abimbola Bello.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us. I am Ajibola Ojeshola.
Good morning. I am Joy Olu. Welcome to The Conversation.
Okay, first thing first, before we start the show proper this morning, are you over that match?
Abimbola, at some point, I had to switch off my TV, and I wasn't really surprised. I think the Super Eagles overrated themselves, and they underrated the Zimbabweans. And of course, we pay for it at the end of the day. So we can as well forget about our qualification for the World Cup, because I'm sick and tired of all these permutations, adding 1+1 to make 2 all the time.
Yeah. So I didn't watch the match, and it was deliberate because, and I think I said it here.
You saw it coming.
We still do not have a team, as far as I'm concerned. We don't have a team. And I think it's best we do not even go to that World Cup. Because if you're also watching the UEFA Nations League, you will see a team that actually wants to go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
You will see the tenacity with which those clubs are playing. Number one, our boys we love this big man showmanship when it comes to playing football. Then number two, everybody wants to score. We're not playing that. Well, there's no cohesion. There's no teamwork. And we don't really play as a team. We come to camp a week to any championship and we expect to put up the best. It doesn't make absolute sense. And you know, even last night, as much as Osimhen tried, his attitude at the end of that match for me was a no-no. He did not display the spirit of showmanship. Yes, you drew, and they were trying to speak with you, and you were shunning everybody, and then you walked off the pitch. It was painful, but whose fault was it? You can't win a match with 1 goal.
You can't.
It's best you score 2 goals so that even if your opponents score, at least you can still have an advantage. You waited till the dying minute to have allowed them to equalize, and you were angry.
And you know, and the opponent of the Super Eagles were more businesslike. They played with all their hearts.
They came prepared.
And they were younger boys.
Yeah. And so you were expecting some kind of miracle to happen.
We need a team. We need hungry boys who are ready to defend, you know, the country with their energy, with their strength. I think all the boys that we have, they have their names already. Let us leave them. Let us go and start from the scratch. Nigeria is too big,
fresh blood.
A country that you cannot find 2 teams from homegrown players. Every corner you'll find them playing ball every Saturday. If you scout very well, you will find people who play for Nigeria. So
if you groom these boys, and at the end of the day, clubs will come scouting for them, and they also travel abroad.
That's why I said you can build
also
2
display
teams.
the same attitude.
The thing is this, Ajibola, it's valid everywhere. When you make players, you don't make
when you put them on their toes.
And then you don't make one single team. You make as you are replacing as they are growing wings. Because once they start growing wings, once they poach them and they're on the international level, they have arrived. So the ones that have not arrived,
you can still
carry
tame them. Yeah.
And are hungry.
And are hungry. Put them back. And that's the best way to build a team.
Sure.
And then also our league
We need to develop
deserves attention. All this, go to ordinary South Africa and learn Benye.
Should be Nigerian player. We have Nigerian players in Sudan, Tanzania, India.
Go to their league.
India.
Anyway, let's go. Time is fast spent. Let's quickly go on to our news points for today. Let me start this morning. And the first, of course, the first story today is reps moved to stop governorship election cases at appeal court. The House of Representatives on Tuesday passed for second reading a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to make the Court of Appeal the final arbiter in disputes involving governorship, national and state House of Assembly elections. The bill is among the 39 constitutional amendment bills that were passed through second reading on the floor of the House. The passage of the bills come as the House prepares to go on Salah and Easter breaks, and on the heels of the controversy that chose the adoption of the declaration of state of emergency declared by President Bola Tinubu in Rivers State last week. The bills were passed after they were presented for second reading through a motion by the House leader, Representative Julius Ihobere, and referred to the House Committee on Constitution Review chaired by the Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu for further legislation. The proposed legislation was sponsored by the lawmaker representing Odokwa West Okwani Federal Constituency of Delta State, Nnamdi Ezechi. Let me quickly go to what the bill seeks to find. The bill seeks to delete the existing subsection 3 and substitute a new subsection 3 to read: the decisions of the Court of Appeal in respect of appeals arising from the governorship, national and state House of Assembly election petitions shall be final. It goes on, but that's the thrust of the story. And like this one rightly said, this bill is amongst the 39 others that were passed for second reading, that scaled through second reading at the House of Representatives yesterday. If this scales through, of course, it means that it's a shorter period. The amount of time or the waiting time that you actually can seek for election. I think it's about time. I don't think it's everything that really needs to get to the Supreme Court. At the end of the day, for me, I think even the tribunal judgment should suffice for this. But since the lawmakers are saying, well, let it get to the appeal court, I hope it scales through and gets a final assent. We need to get to that level where, we stop wasting money, we stop wasting time, we stop wasting energy. Let there be one, if the tribunal has ruled and then you want to challenge, once it is at the appeal court, let everybody go and take it and wait for another 4 years. So that's, because we keep wasting time.
Wasting money,
wasting energy.
And then even those who have been elected, we really allow them to concentrate. And at the end of the day, if a particular ruling is in your favor, somebody who had been in charge of a particular state,
we'll now start all over again.
And that's why we have staggered elections here and there.
Yes, there and there.
Okay, still a bit of politics. 2027, I don't know if I'll run. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is talking there, and I'm finding this very difficult to believe. But until 2027...
Atiku dying minutes, he'll change his mind.
He's a good customer. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has said that he does not know if he will contest the presidency in 2027. Atiku made this remark in a yet-to-be-transmitted interview for a television show, Untold Stories, with Adesua Giwa Osagie, scheduled for broadcast today, but exclusively obtained by Daily Trust. The former presidential candidate of the PDP recently announced the formation of a coalition of opposition leaders to wrest power from President Bola Tinubu in 2027. However, there has been widespread speculation about who will lead the coalition and emerge as the presidential candidate, with former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai being considered among its key figures. When asked if he will be running for presidency in 2027, Atiku said, and I'm quoting, "I don't know, because there has to be, first of all, viable platform more than any other time in the political history of this country, particularly since the return of democracy." Atiku, who has run for the presidency a record 6 times, did not rule out the possibility of contesting again in 2027. "I have not seen Nigeria in dire need of, an experienced and credible leadership than this time. We had a similar, what I will say, merger in 2014. About 4 of us, or is it 3, we all ran for president, and 1 of us emerged, and we all supported the one who emerged as president." He agreed with former President Olusegun Obasanjo's assertion that Nigeria's democracy is deteriorating, saying the situation is very dire. And of course, it went on and on, telling us why he refused to pick Wike as his running mate in 2023 presidential election. So he's not sure yet if he's going to run for presidency again in 2027. And of course, if he decides to run, that will make it the 7th time. Has anybody ever run for presidency 7 times in this country? No.
Nobody.
You can always start.
It's setting a record.
It's setting a record.
It's a record breaker.
Okay, let's wait until,
Until
the time.
2027.
Joy, let's take your story.
Lagos State Government seeks partnership for free open heart surgeries. The Lagos State Government has urged Nigerians to collaborate with the government in expanding access to critical healthcare services as it embarks on free open heart surgeries for 30 indigent patients. Speaking on Monday, at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, the Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, said the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, promised to conduct free open heart surgeries for 30 indigent patients. He added that Governor sponsored the treatments strictly for indigents. The operation, which cost 8.5 million naira per patient, would take place in 3 phases in April, August and December. Abayomi emphasized the importance of the initiative and urged Nigerians to collaborate with the government in expanding access to critical healthcare services. That's basically the thrust of the story. 30 indigent students patients would be beneficiaries of these free open heart surgeries, which will take place in April, August and December. My own question is, what would be the mode of selections? Is it going to be based on how critical the condition is?
Yeah, it could also be, of course, with patients that have been
Coming regularly
for treatments, that they have their case history. Because, of course, if you are to go to through a surgery, they must have your case history. So they must know what exactly your conditions are. So they probably are also patients that have been under their care for quite a while. And, of course, who need surgery as fast as possible. And, of course, like they said, are indigent who can't afford to pay for this surgery. 8.5 million. If anything was to go by. So the criteria, of course, will be known to those of them there. But I think it's a good thing that government, again, is coming to the aid of, people. Because, again, without the eyes, it's pretty difficult to navigate through the murky waters here.
And this is also to justify the investment of the Lagos State government in the health sector. Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly move on. Let's go to the X platform this morning and take a look at one of the many trending stories of that platform this morning. Well, Madam Due Process, like she's known, is trending on the X platform this morning. And why is she trending? For those who monitored, the story yesterday, she was at the Senate committee yesterday with Dr. Abiola Akiyode, to present a petition in support of Senator Natasha Akpotu-Uduaghan. And there was an altercation between Madam Obi Ezekwesili and another senator. And of course, it was not a palatable situation.
It wasn't.
But for me, of course, will be the fact that sometimes we need to respect ourselves, however we look at the situation.
Respect is reciprocal.
You cannot tell somebody, you cannot be insulting or insultive, and then you get treated the same way, and then you play the victim card. From what happened yesterday, and even Dr. Ezekwesili herself acknowledged the fact that I told him to shut up.
Shut up, yeah.
He's a grown man.
He is.
Everybody, as at yesterday, tensions were high. But, giving an explanation as to why she said she should shut up was because she felt, they were being denied the opportunity to present their case. And then, so why would the senator want to speak or to present their own side of the story when they had been told that they could not, present their petition because the case was already in court? There are better ways to address these situations. So if you poke somebody and then you get poked many times and then you complain, can we backtrack and also look at what's happened? So, Madam Due Process was wrong. The senator was wrong. And we cannot find, two wrongs
Don't make it right.
would never make it right. So let's call a spade a spade. Both of them were wrong, perhaps if she had not said shut up, tempers would not have fled.
Yeah.
And the senator wouldn't have called her a fool.
Yes, he might not have said all those things that he said. So sometimes we just also need to read the room, read the temperature. And then, because I watched an interview yesterday when she was asked, but it looks like you provoked him. And she said, no, he was already provoked.
He was already provoked.
So if you knew he was provoked,
So
Why did you
aggravate his provocation? You know, so sometimes let's look at these things holistically and, you know, not be judgmental or be sentimental when things like this do happen.
Absolutely, you're right, Abimbola, because she had no right to tell that senator to shut up. That was a foul language. It was uncivil, just like what the senator said as well. But if she had not said what she said, the senator wouldn't have called her a disgrace to womanhood or a fool.
Wow. You know, even the Bible says a quiet answer turns away wrath. There are better ways to put your words.
Yes, yes.
Well,
okay. That's it on, of course, the opening segment of the program. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we will quickly look at today's column. And before we break into the conversation for today. Ajibola, what's on the column for today?
All right, today's column is coming from The Guardian and is titled Godfather Godson Conflict, State of Emergency and Way Forward in Rivers State, and is written by Magnus Oyimbe. Of course, first of all, he gave us the background of what happened in Rivers State and why Mr. President had to declare a state of emergency on the 18th of March 2025. And of course, but the major point for me here is the implication of Mr. President's action on the economy of the country. And of course, it gave examples of some investors that recently invested their money in the Niger Delta region of the country. And this situation in particular, according to Magnus, is here saying that if it is not well managed, it might affect the economy of the country and, of course, trigger another wave of militancy and insecurity in the Niger Delta region. And that, of course, will affect our oil production, and of course might also discourage some of the investors that we are trying to attract into the country. He cited Shell, Tony Elumelu, and some other companies who have invested billions of dollars into the country recently. But with this recent development and of course the new wave of militancy coming from that side of the country, investors might be discouraged, and this might have dire consequences for the economy of the country.
All right, of course, his article will continue tomorrow, and he's asking that this is the time for strategic intervention in Nigeria. Well, you can pick up a copy of the Guardian newspaper to take a further read on today's column. We'll take another quick break. When we return, the conversation today will center around how safer can our roads be, especially in the wake of recent tanker explosions in Lagos and Abuja. Our guest is already here, and after this break, this conversation begins.